Lazarus has done it again.
It's all Fernando Bale, the champion, well clear of Waymore's Blues, and Fernando Bale.
And Aaron, let's get straight into the racing segment of tonight's show, and it is brought to you by the Gawler Barossa Jockey Club as well. Shane Collins and the team down there, they do a wonderful job. We got Shane on the show, as we just said, mate. It's going to be brilliant. Ballot Cup today, a very exciting day.
Ballot Cup, I tell you what, and Brown Ben, third time lucky you could say, and I tell you what a start to the training partnership of Tony and Calvin McAvoy. And just on that, I reckon we should get either or both of them in one night. I tell you what, that'd get some views, and we look forward to that. Probably Calvin. Tony's a busy man, but Calvin's obviously heading up the SA ranks, and congratulations to them today to win their sort of first feature race together. It is a listed race, the Ballot Cup, and Corey Parrish took the ride there. So third time lucky, we say. Runner up 2 years ago, fifth in last year's Cup. He'd come back. He loves the track, and tell you what, he won well today.
Mate, he was brilliant today. We didn't back Brown Ben, obviously being there today. Cracking day, Ballot
Good
Cup.
price, 16-1 too.
Yeah, spoke to Calvin as well, so we will get him on this show, but paid it fantastically, and the way it ran, you certainly wouldn't have thought it ran
Their
like
team
a $16
is flying at the moment, the McAvoy team, and full credit to them. But just on the Ballot Cup, it is the largest country thoroughbred race in SA. It is a listed race that we spoke about, and no doubt Shane Collins on later will talk to him about it. But he's soon to he'd be keen to challenge that title as that title of the largest country thoroughbred race in SA, because the Gawler Jockey Club, they're doing a great job as well. But it's two great races. Crowd today, probably in previous years 8,000 plus. I don't know if you heard any numbers today. Yeah. All of that.
Yeah. So I did get some numbers through. So I reckon we'll be very, very close to that as well. So that just shows. Talking to a few people over the last couple of weeks, the Ballot Cup traditionally is run 2 weeks earlier than it was this year, and probably had a stinker of the last 5 years with weather and that. Yeah. I'll tell you what, it was anything but a stinker today.
First day of spring weather, 26 degrees.
Mate, it was, I was in jeans, it was hot to be out there.
$64,000 in prize money the race, and I'll tell you what, the most interesting fact, I think, credit to racing in SA and how strong it is starting to turn around and go. Every runner today was trained and ridden by an SA participant.
Well,
outstanding.
Mate, you don't see that.
Unbelievable.
In any code very often. You don't really see that even very often,
especially
when you go to Melbourne and that as well. So to have that, fully SA personnel, it's a real tick in the box for racing in South Australia.
100%. And moving straight along, let's go into state. So we had we talk about the Spring Carnival. We had the Group 3 Concord Stakes on the weekend, run and won. And I'll tell you what about the champ, Red Zell? We talk about Winks, and Winks has passed us now, but Red Zell keeps popping his head up. He's a 3-time winner of the Concord Stakes. He's a 2-time Everest winner. 15.6 million. I just want you to say that slowly. 15.6 million, and he's still going, and well in the market for the third Everest.
It's tough as a punter, Aaron, because I don't know why I keep backing against him, thinking it's going to get beat. It's been a brilliant horse, and I reckon some very, very happy owners again. Races against some unbelievable horses as well, Aaron. Obviously, Sunlight as well out of the McAvoy camp, and Nature Strip as well. Nature Strip, I should say.
Yeah. Zoo Style was unbeaten going into the Concord, and Pirata, which he'll feature very heavily later in our horses to follow. He stormed home late.
And mate, just on Sunlight as well. Sunlight's still a quality horse, one to watch. Probably just from its gate, had to follow Nature Strip out, and probably didn't get to where it wanted to be in a winning position. But that's one to watch going into spring. I reckon I'll have a couple of wins.
I think you heard Tony on air say it was probably a little bit going in underdone, and Calvin might have said the same in talking to him. But I think she's certainly a quality mare, and she'll head towards the Everest, and good luck to connections there. But I tell you what, Kieran McAvoy, a bit of scrutiny around him. Obviously, the jockey of Red Zell. Obviously, there was a bit of scrutiny around going into the short, so that's Red Zell's next race, where he clashes with Classique Legend, which is a broom sprinter, grey. So Shatak was off the scene, and Classique Legend comes in. There's been a bit of, who will he ride and stick with? I don't know how you could, what you say about backing Red Zell. He's backed Red Zell in. He said, I'm sticking with him for the shorts. And And I looked at actually the markets today for the Everest, and Red Zell's $7, Classique Legend's $8. So a tough decision, but when you've already won 2 Everests on him, you've just come off the Concord victory, you probably can't go far away from sticking with him in the lead up to it. So this is their last lead up race to the Everest, but current favourite in the Everest markets is Santa Ana Lane at $5. So a wide open market, and there are still some horses yet to going to start or spot in the series.
Santa Ana Lane, I talk about not backing Red Zell. Santa Ana Lane's usually the horse I'm backing, so it never wins. And then when I forget to back Santa Ana Lane, it wins. So look, there's some absolutely quality horses going around. Look, I'll probably have to. I'll be looking to stick with Santa Ana Lane in that Everest, but I think Red Zell won at 8s or 9s last year as well.
Some value, and there'll be plenty to play out between now and the Everest, which is obviously coming up in later October as well, or mid-October. But moving straight along, because we've got plenty to get through on the racing show. Damien Oliver winning his 10th Scobie Breesley medal. So that medal is awarded for riding excellence. Obviously, Craig Williams won the overall jockey premiership, and he's those famous red boots, or that stormed down the outside or picked the gap late. That's Craig Williams' trademark there, but it's a remarkable achievement by Damien. 10th medal. That's to win it 10 times. To win it once is a great achievement. To win it 10 times is just you just can't fathom it. 47 years old as well, but still one of the most in-demand jockeys in Australia.
Well, it just shows you the quality of Damien Oliver. You talk about Craig Williams in there. Let's not forget the quality of him as well. 2 brilliant riders brilliant jockeys for a long period of time. Obviously, Media Puzzle is probably the most famous one.
2002 Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, for Oliver. Obviously, a movie about it and whatnot as well. But even today, wrote another couple of. I think he had 3 or 4 of the first 5 winners today in Melbourne. Damien as well, so it just shows the class of
he's still going to play a big part over the spring. Moving on, and probably a bit of sad news with the passing of Group 1 trainer Russell Cameron. Passed away on Tuesday the 10th of September, but looking into this, he passed away at the age of 61 on Tuesday morning. 3rd generation trainer, but interestingly he first gained a licence in 1989 in South Australia. He went on then to train in Victoria, New Zealand, and then in Macau as well. So he's had an outstanding career, trained 600 plus winners. And I tell you what, he was responsible for some very big plunges, and none bigger than one day at Victoria Park, I believe, a horse called Mortalox was back from, I believe, and when I was looking at this today, I was reading a news feed where it was there as well, from 400 to 1 into $4.50, 9 to 2 in the old term. That's a big go, and I believe the money they collected was just. Someone's seen it with their own eyes, astronomical, as you could imagine. So, yeah, and all condolences to the family there. But it's always a sad moment in racing when you see, a legend or a Group 1 trainer like that leave us behind. But his legacy will live on.
Yeah, 100%. And it's from anyone really that's involved in the industry. But I'm sure they'll share obviously a sad time, but they'll share many good stories of. Those 61 years, and I'm sure there's a few they could tell. Winners.
2 more segments just to quickly cover. The Hugh Bowman, so he suffered a hand injury at track work on Tuesday morning as well. Forced to undergo minor surgery. There's no news yet as to how many meetings he missed, but would have been interesting if it was in the time of Winks. I'm tipping he would have put the old finger wrap on it from the footy days and said, "I'm right to go, boss." So, Hugh's a tough character, but he'll be back out there pretty soon.
Yeah, I was going to say, imagine if Winks was still going around. I don't reckon he would be letting that information go to anyone. But look, it'll be interesting to see.
Certainly not Damien Oliver or Craig Williams.
No, not at all. It'll be interesting to see how long he does sit out for. But quality jockey, so.
Big spring coming up for
Never wants to be out in spring, that's for sure.
And lastly, some big news, and probably my most favourite news. I followed the stable very closely. The David Hayes camp. David Hayes returned to train in Hong Kong in 2020. 56 years old. He last left Hong Kong in 2005. He trained 458 winners in his last stint. 17 Group 1 winners. Yep. That's a feat in itself to train 1. He's trained 17 of them. He won the premiership in 97, 98, again in 98, 99. What he's achieving here, he's won 77 Group 1s in total. Not to mention, we've got to mention his son Ben, also his cousin Tom Dabinet as well. And the training here will continue. But I think that's great for Australian racing to see David go, and he's quoted to say that he wants to finish his racing career over there, but he'll still play a big part in the team back here.
Yeah, so obviously talk of the town at the moment, and talk today at the Ballot Cup as well. So so he's actually taking his name off the Australian ownership and will be just a pure owner in Hong Kong, which, for the average punter, you probably don't realise that, but it's a big move, and I think by all reports, one that he's looking very, very forward to completing.
There's amazing things happening over there, and probably my favourite quote that lives with me as well, and I follow by it. And, you look at the greats, but the future belongs to those who plan for it. His late father, Colin Hayes, set that in stone with the Lindsay Park that has been created, the monster, you could say, and David Hayes lives by that, and I really like that saying, and I sort of live by that myself a bit.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if he makes his son get delisted from the Bulldogs just to help back out at the stables here in Victoria as well.
Wouldn't have thought he's fedging his own very good career. But, I think we need to move into our next segment. It's been general news, there's been a lot to get through, but let's go into our first segment shortly with 3 wide, no cover. And 3 wide, no cover, what a great way to kick off. This is where we find the unlucky runners from last week. So, Nighty, it was up to you last week to give us the unlucky runner. We're going to give it to you again. Yeah,
well, mate, a horse called Flop, and
probably unlucky.
Yeah, probably says it in the name, mate. Race 6 at Morphettville on Saturday, and probably just an unsuitable distance. Obviously settled last and made a run 3 or 4 wide at the 600, and pushed 6 wide at the top of the straight, and it probably just kept running on, but beaten 2 lengths the winner. So, look, it showed a lot of promise, and one to certainly keep the eye on as well, Aaron.
Let's have a look at the closing stages. You've only got to look out wide. Flop in the green and blue colours and white cap. But I'll tell you what, it's one to follow.
Let a length and a quarter. Bayou's coming now. Then Magic Sunset. Flop from the back. Magna Bella. She needs the post, but she'll get it. Blinkers first time. Yep, that does the trick. Magna Bella won by 4. Maybe 3 in the end. Flop.
Obviously, we've seen that replay there, and we look to see her over the 12 to 1400. She'll be hitting the line again, I think. So Flop, certainly one of the ones to follow.
Yeah, certainly one that'll be slipping into those black books, Aaron, as well.
And that obviously Punt Club sponsor our 3 wide no cover segment every week.
Yeah, Jason Neve and the team down at Punt Club, they're absolutely brilliant. Download the Punt Club app today to get your Punt Club started, mate.
Remember, gamble responsibly.
Always.
That takes us into our next segment, moving on to In the Money. So, In the Money, our segment sponsor this week, and as is every week, the Ladies in Racing magazine, the only magazine dedicated to women in racing, and that is ladiesinracingmagazine.com.au. Jump on there if you haven't done so already. But In the Money, this is the one.
You've got one, Aaron.
I've got one. I'm going to kick off. I tell you what, I've found one. I have found one. Going Gaga. Not Lady Gaga.
I love the name.
Going Gaga. Morphettville on Saturday, race 8, trained by Michael Hickmott at Murray Bridge. He does a great job with his team, but he was very good third behind the promising, we say again, McAvoy trained, Nistan, and I'll tell you what, there's just another one, as we said, yeah, exactly right. 4 wide from the 600, even wider turning for home. I think it was catching the next train back to Gawler. Or sorry, because there was not one going to Murray Bridge, but it was that wide on the home bend, so couldn't really sprint with him, but it kept finding late. So, soft going probably isn't his most favourite, track, surface you could say, and he was up in weight. But let's have a look at his run. He's in the navy blue colours with the white star, the widest runner of course, as we said, catching the next train out of Morphettville.
Sunmate Going Gaga down the middle, then Star Patriot. Nistan doing it well inside the 2, gets clear from Sunmate. Going Gaga, Boris and Ossery, they're all battling. Cannot be serious next, but Nistan inside the 50 is going all the way. Sunmate tries hard, but Nistan defeats Sunmate. Going Gaga.
And that's certainly one to follow, Going Gaga. We'll be watching it for coming weeks. But King of the North, over to you for our second horse to follow. We got one each week.
Yeah, mate. Coming out of the Concord Stakes, obviously we've touched on it with Red Zell, and what a quality horse that is. One of the best to watch this spring. But one that really caught my eye out of that is a horse called Parada. Ran second in the end. Settled last 6 lengths off the leader, mate. And at the 300 metre mark, it was still last. Watch it, mate, at the 150 metre mark, absolutely motor home to only go down by a neck. So we're going to have a look at the vision from the 200 metre mark here, mate, and watch it. You can't miss it. It's the widest, it's last, and watch it absolutely bolt in here. certainly one to watch for the spring.
Redzel still being cuddled. Nature Strips come off the bridle. Redzel's cruising in the lead. Parada's winding up and Graff getting a late split. It's Redzel in front. Coming home well is Parada the outside. But Redzel, he's clinging on. He's back. And Redzel makes it 3 in a row in the Concord. Beats Parada.
And certainly an eye catcher there, Parada, so we'll be watching him over the spring. But that is our In the Money segment. We've had 3 wide no cover, obviously horse, flop, 3 wide no, and then for the 3 wide no cover, In the Money, we got Going Gaga and Parada, so we look forward to following those over the coming weeks. That's it, and we'll be back after the break with our first guest this evening, Shane Collins, CEO of the Barossa Jockey Club.